And ghouls, yes, and ghouls. God. Ow.
Yeah, I think it's pretty nice. This is the most responders I've ever seen. This is solid. I didn't know you guys had. I actually got to come to your nighttime meetings more often.
Well, this is a kind of a first of this. So, we tend to do most of our meeting stuff in Discord in channels you can't see.
Changeling Shader?
Don't worry about it.
Here.
I swear Connor could be related to half of the EAF. Just as I'm watching you pan the cameras, I'm like, wow, I mean, are those your brothers or what? They all look alike. It's weird.
Are we sure they're his brothers and not his sons?
I mean, he's
I'm
definitely.
sorry.
I think he's the oldest character. I think he's the oldest character in the room.
I think so.
I'm sorry, but I swear to God, I turned around, saw the two guys in the Enclave uniforms behind me, and I couldn't tell them apart. I can't.
There you go. Yep.
It's because they're clones, duh.
Oh, it's too good. Oh.
They're all clones of each other.
Connor's DNA. I swear. Without
How old was he, the commander?
He is 47, I believe, if I do my math. I think he's 47 in the game. And maybe
he's from the future.
Cross is
older.
older.
He's the oldest. Oh, that's right. Cross is like 68, 72. That's right.
Cross is a grandpa. He's pretty old.
Yeah. Damn, Jesus.
Alexander
old,
would be about commanders.
Right, I'm sorry. I was channeling Grace. What she really meant to say was 83.
Yeah, but we all know Skuld is the boss.
True.
Who's
rolling one? Rainbow, is that you?
What?
Are you rolling one?
That's fine. It doesn't
I just
matter.
lit one up, homie.
Hi, people watching the stream.
Alright.
Give me.
So we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna ask that you guys mute, and then, we'll pause at a couple points, and if you have a question, you can just interject, that's fine too. So the point of this was to simply sit down and give an out-of-character, this is a lot of character, an out-of-character talk about, like, what's going on, and the concept. I'm going to raise your mic while I'm talking, and I'll mute myself when I'm talking. The idea that, here's the history, because we've been around since beta, and that's a lot of time to kind of go through all the different process. So I'm going to talk a little bit just about beta, and then Ray's going to interject. And we'll talk about a couple of things. We'll have time. We'll open up the floor to people to ask questions, and we'll have time for you guys if you want to talk about your experiences just in general with us and the community, and that would be great. So when we started at beta, and it was Ray and myself, our brother-in-law, and a friend of ours who's married to my college roommate. You've seen him around Zavork. So we started playing together, the four of us, and we just did like everything everybody else did. We just, came into the game, did dumb things, run around, and, do all the things, right? In the running around, in those initial weeks, we ran into a guy named Eric. Some of you may remember him from the very beginning. He went by a character named Elric, and he's the one that actually started the recon unit of the 5.0. And at one point, we were all running around, and we all had on the responder blues that Nick is wearing right there. And we were just kind of being funny, and we went to this spot, and we took a picture, and it was the five of us, and Ray just kind of laughingly wrote, Fallout 5.0, because, there was five of us, and we all looked like cops, and put it on one of the social media Facebook groups. And it was just so many responses and so many reactions. We were like, well, that's not what we expected. We kind of just did it as a lark. And we were like, well, what's actually happening here? And it kind of just set the creative juices going. And so then from beta, which, happened essentially, in October, Fast forward to November, and then Ray, I'll let you talk about November. Okay. Thanksgiving and kind of the start, where we kind of started. No, you're fine. Go ahead. It was very different back then. The website was just like profiles and connection points. It didn't look anything what it looks like today. hub, a community hub. Yeah. So, with those first few months, as we were kind of exploring this idea of what the writing lore in RP looked like, we began to kind of ask ourselves, okay, well, what are we doing in the game? And so we had some really funny encounters. We would it was all light role play for us. We'd walk up, we would offer to, as the responders, to clear people's bounties. We thought we were really cool one time walking up on one person. We all approached real stealthy, and we were in area. I'm like, I see him. He's like, I'm right behind you. And it was kind of funny. It was one of those funny moments. So we just kind of light RP'd, and we started to realize that there was a larger story going on. And this is actually when we met CJ Martin. And we ended up doing a lot of things with him and kind of spending time chatting with him. And he would experience a lot of griefing at the beginning of the game. I mean, Brat can attest to this. I mean, there was a lot of grief at the beginning of the game for him and what he was doing. So every time he was being griefed, we would stop what we were doing, jump worlds, go over there. And so for a while, we actually were kind of essentially policing the wasteland, which is why today you always hear us say we don't do that anymore. Right, and it was interesting because at the same time we were kind of doing this stuff on the PlayStation, we were experimenting with this idea of the Academy on the Xbox, which was kind of our first, like, well, how would we actually go about telling an RP story in the game? We started kind of talking about that. Now I've done guild running for years and years and years, whether it was in World of Warcraft or in EverQuest, or I'm really dating myself with that one. And so I was like, there's always a story to tell, and how do we get people involved? And so we started something called Academy, which on the Xbox, people would sign up, and they would actually start with a completely brand new character, as if they were coming out from the vault, and we would set up these moments where they would interact with characters that we would play as NPCs. And it was really interesting, but the problem was that there was no follow-through in the Xbox. It was just really difficult for us to kind of continue to follow through on the Xbox, and that's why we started to focus here on the PlayStation. was there. Pio remembers. Yeah, well, yeah, the little emergency, yeah, we made them, they didn't get to start with the opening quest. So that brings us to like the start of 2019. So all that happened kind of in the span of a couple of months and then into the start of 2019. So as we kind of were looking at the PlayStation, where we already had a group that kind of casually played, and Pio was a part of that group at the time. So she's other than Ray and myself, she's the oldest member of the 5-0 currently present. So, I guess so old. So we would just kind of hang out, we would do things. And we started asking ourselves, okay, so as we move away from policing the wasteland, come on in, yeah. We wanted to answer the question, who are the responders? Like, what does that mean? What is that lore? What does that look like? All those questions. Because there's such rich history, here in oh, is that Alpha in the back? Yeah, that's another almost original person. There was so much rich content with the responders. We were like, okay, well, who were they and who are they now? And so we started to kind of look at that in the lore and what could we do. So and that was at the point where we decided, you know what, we're scrapping the way the website looks and we're going for kind of the first iteration of what you see now on the website. And so we changed everything, and then we decided that we as a faction, we enjoyed the RP so much on the Xbox, but because it wasn't really going anywhere, we were like, what can we do on the PlayStation side? We're going to come up with this backstory. Here's what happened as Connor left the vault, and Corey left the vault, and all these other people left the vault, and they kind of eventually came back together. Well, the responders needed to do more than just respond, and so we set aside the whole idea of anti-griefing, and we were like, okay, we need action, and that's when we were like, Modus. Modus is going to be our focus as responders. And then what we came up with was this idea of the storyline Modus Must Fall. And we put it up on, it's in one of our channels now, the history of that. Plus, you can see it on our YouTube channel. And we started doing filming. We started having release videos where Ray would do like voiceovers as Commander John's talking about the dangers of Modus and kind of this concern. And so his character kind of got rooted in this idea that there was an inherent danger in this corrupted AI program that had already massively killed a bunch of human beings in the bunker. And why would he do it? Why would the AI do something, catastrophic again in the right conditions? It was potentially an ascension AI. So we started talking more. And so we started talking, okay, Modus must fall. And we need to bring them offline. And so what do? We come up with this idea that there is a virus, a computer virus out there that's called the MobVir1 virus that is essentially a kill switch for Modus. And so we started to say, okay, the responders, based off of the lore that happened in the game post-war and where we are today, we're going to search for the MobVir1 virus. It's also on our YouTube channel, so if for some reason you're not in our Discord, because I know that not all of the EAF are in our Discord, so you can also go to our YouTube, and it's a playlist, and you can watch the playlist. The history of it, yeah, is not there. I mean, if it's something that you guys are deeply interested in, I can transfer it to the what is it, the RPO OOC
Yeah, the
channel,
RPO Roleplay Organization
right.
tab.
So if
yeah.
that's something that you want General for your guys to see, or if they want to see, I'm happy to like pull that stuff over side by side.
If it's not too much trouble, please, because I've been snooping in your story for months, and it's quite rich. So I think the guys would really enjoy a chance to be able to see it without having to spend weeks of snooping.
Sure. Not a problem. I'll probably do it this weekend. I'm super busy with like work stuff this week, but this weekend I
Hey,
will
take your
definitely
time. Take your time, seriously. Like, we're not going anywhere.
Battle the bots is next.
Whoop whoop! Awkward.
My team won.
Yeah, Pio's team won, and Gino I think was there too. Gino was
Yeah,
there too.
that was my first event right there.
Yeah. And it took strategy, because Teb's team actually, it demonstrated the ability, like, okay, you're limited in the materials you have, so how do you navigate it? Teb came up with the best possible plan using
He
multiple
really did.
pieces of power. I mean, it was amazing. I was like,
4 power armors.
4 power armors. He blocked off a hallway. It was one of the most amazing moves. I was like, that was brilliant. So. It's amazing to see how far we've come, too, you know, just in general. The weekend I'll do it, yeah. And that's important, because that pretty much, by seeing the concept proven viable, we were like, okay, we can really do some amazing stuff with this, and it can really drive where we're going to go. And so the result of the Battle of the Bots was, okay, Modus is aware of the responders and what they're trying to do, as much as a creepy sentient smiley AI can be. And so we then spent time developing in the after effects of the Battle of the Bots. Okay, they would continue to find the try to find the Modvir 1 virus, because it wasn't at White Spring, so where would it be? Cue our call to social media, because we're like, we need an actual villain that is a human being to fight, because we can't just rely on the game, because, you know, ultimately 200 years down the line, Modus is still in existence. So we put out a call on social media. We were like, hey, are you a raider gang? Do you enjoy PvP and RP? Blah, 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 blah. And we promoted and promoted and promoted, and the only raider gang that responded were the Vultures. That was like at the start of the summer, I would say, yeah, of 2019. Yeah, no. And so we spent the rest of the summer prepping for this. It talks between us and Christopher from the Vultures and Condor Jessica, and we spent time kind of like, what would this look like? What are the ramifications? What are the rules that we want to set forward? And so by the time August hit, so 2019 August, we had everything in place, and we set up the battle for Big Bend Tunnel. We spent the summer promoting through social media that an initial group of the responders went in, and they were you know, ambushed by the Vultures, and then Connor gets word and he wants to go back and, you know, find the Modvir 1 virus that we think is in the tunnel, and you know do a little payback. And so we set up this battle, and with the understanding that whatever happens is going to dictate the story for the two of us, because Warlord is an amazing writer, and he loves RP and the story and the lore, and so if you ever get a chance to talk shop with him, definitely do so. And so we set it up. Chino was there, Paya was there, Pri was there, Teb was there, let's see, Nate was there, who's not here now. I'm trying to think if anybody else was there at the time. So we went there, and we won. So it was you know, an incredible situation, and Ral at this time was watching. She was aware of us. She was watching, and we went in and we won, and the end of the story was, okay, we have the warlord in custody because we're responders. We're not just going to murder somebody. So what do we do? Like, we're like, now that we have you captured, what do we do with you? And we're like, well, the natural progression would be, how about a trial? And so that's what started the trial of the warlord, and kind of what has set up things where we are today with this whole idea of the trial of the warlord. And that moment is really what started us really kind of shifting our focus in terms of our cinema making to this idea of like, wait, this stuff is machinima. We didn't know it, it was not a term that I was really using. Neither was Ray, and so, but that was the start of our real shift to machinima, was the after-action report. There you go, you guys from the Enclave. That Ray did as Connor walking through the tunnel after everything had happened, and he did this big speech, and he talked about what had happened and what effects it would have on the responders now that we had been forced to essentially take a governmental position by the new Appalachian State Republic. And so we put him on trial. And so by the fall of 2019, Jeremy Songer, I don't know if some of you know him, he built this amazing courthouse for us. And it was amazing. And we did our first rounds of scripted filming with the Vultures and with the Warlord and the 5-0. And some secondary characters voicing, and that is when we actually got noticed by Polygon. It was our first article written about us. So that all was during the fall. So it was like, wow, there's so much happening. Yeah. Right. So the Battle of Spruce Knob was not our greatest moment. It was not a responder find moment, even though we were winning until somebody cried foul. But in terms of, we said that we could have a response force, and apparently some miscommunication. But we lost that, and Spruce Knob fell. And if you look at some of the figures that were in videos, before and after Spruce Knob, they were terribly impacted by that moment. It was a bad situation. And we lost Spruce Knob. And as a result, because we lost Spruce Knob, we couldn't be in parts of the Divide for quite some time. Of course, skipping way ahead for a second, when Wastelanders happened, that all changed, because obviously things change. But it was a pretty amazing piece, and that really also solidified Barnett's role as the broadcaster, as the BBC for a time. She did a great job with broadcasting video for that. And also at this time, we had Ral as a character break into the HQ, and what started us this ability to say, okay, what happens when we have players from outside of the community that want to be involved but don't necessarily want to join the 5-0? So in character, she spent time in quarantine, and there was this whole big development of her story, and we started to realize that it's entirely possible for every single person in in every single community that we interact with to tell their quest story. And that's what started the RAL equation, which, you know, is still going on. We're getting to the point where it's going to come to a head here shortly. And and the RAL equation actually has impacted not just Valerie's character there as Ral, but several of the characters that Ral has interacted with as a result. All because she at one point was convinced by the commander to leave HQ and go with Hayo's character Eliza Day and her 13 bullets and some other responders, and
I'll never live that down.
and head to AVR, where she was injected with the trackers, and that's what started the whole concept of the RAL equation, who RAL really is, and this other threat, this HIMS threat. And so what we ended up doing for the larger community is we started producing these puzzle-solving videos where any player across any platform could go through the initial part of the RAL equation where they were like, okay, we filmed Dutch or the commander or somebody talking and giving you directions to go to a certain place and find certain clues, and then on the website you'd enter in that code and it would launch another video. The video was locked until you entered that code. And we were like, hey, wait a second, this is like when you're doing dialogue choices in any other RPG. And so we ended up creating these entire pieces that were these dialogue pieces that told the story, the initial story of Ral, the fact that there were these other sightings of Ral, and this nefarious subgroup, this looming threat that was HIMS. Right. I just want to kind of, so as we kind of get to the end here, like Ray said, we want to support narratives, and I want to give you some examples of some personal narratives that have happened, and I'm not going to go into great detail. I can share the timeline doc, which is like 5 pages long, with anybody who wants to see it in great detail. Cue also my sarcastic quippy comments in there as well. But like some major things that happen. So, you know, you have the RAL equation doing her thing, and Hims is introduced, but at the same time, Corey learns information about the biosynthetic neural network. That is where she learns it from RAL and from this whole situation. And she is, in her deep research with that, she's actually kidnapped by Sin. She ends up in Lucky Hole. That's where she ends up learning so much and researching so much. You've got that storyline. You have the storyline of Jake Wright when he got infected by the deviant technological virus, where it totally altered his behavior. You have an entire series of personal quest events where the community tried to free him of that. We dubbed it Bob the Neckworm. Probably can tell you about that one. So there's a neckworm, and actually that event itself was critical across so many people, because in the process of freeing Jake from that affliction, it caused a rife, essentially, a fracture between my character Corey and her best friend Eliza Day, who was played by Pyogenes, who eventually, at the very end of that storyline, as the responders were escorting Dr. Leary away with Barnett's blood, of all things, that was going to be the big solving process, Jake kills Pyogenes' character. And that was it. It was our first real death, and we had an after action report, and we had a whole thing that went along, an investigation that went along with it, and the fallout from that, like Jake just basically not good, and Rao, it comes out later that Rao was the one who stole the deviant virus, and then there was just a lot to it. And if you want to look at the document, I can show you, and it outlines everything. We have the whole concept of the starting of the starting of the Order of the Lamp, with what Gino started to do at first, and how it started as this kind of very, very innocuous sort of an organization. And if you actually track the Order of the Lamp, you start to see Gino very masterfully turns it into this very insidious thing, step by step by step, and how it impacted so many different people. And that was his own kind of character story, his own arc for that. We have, all the different events that we've done, from the cross-faction giveaway to Barnett doing, Officer Down and the Moth Maiden stuff and Survival Boot Camp. And then by the time 2020 hits, we're like still deeply going with the Trial of the Warlord. We have Havoc from the Vultures doing this major attack on the Fire Breathers, and Pre going off into the wild for like a month hunting the Clown. And you have Leary doing his whole thing. You have Rez and Angel developing their storyline as these insidious Enclave people, shame on you, doing their thing to Damian Black and to Grace, and what they end up going through, and how you have a one moment where the Order of the Lamp and the Brotherhood of Steel, the Bosac, Rights Templar, and the 5-0, and Requiem all working together to bring down Rez and Angel. It was like the one time when all these factions who really didn't have a lot in common at all, and had some major disagreements, worked together to bring down these two big bad guys, these BBGs, and they brought them down in an epic fashion, and it impacted everybody as a result of that. We have the continued development of Ral's storyline, where Hawkins DMs a quest into Glass Caverns, where we realize what RAL actually stands for, Remote Access Link to Modus, and we realize the truth that she's harboring both the connection to Modus and the connection to Hims, and that's the whole reason now she wears the collar, is because Corey convinced her to finally come to the skiff and get some help. And then in February we launch in February featured in Forbes by Alex Kane, because we start talking about, well, what about the stories before? These are all great stories of now, but what about the before? And that's when we started talking about Redemption Fall, and this whole idea of who were the characters before the vault door opened. And that launched in May. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it launched in May of this year. And then we met at the Enclave around this time as well, and we started to operate in joint adventures with them. And then we spent the summer crazily recreating the Battle of Big Ben for QuakeCon in August. It was our 1-year anniversary. It was kind of poetic, I suppose. And then, here we are now with the RAL equation ramping up. We had that release. We had the confrontation between the Enclave and with the RAL clone. We have the fire team dispatched to investigate the tent that nobody investigated that night. So we went and investigated it, and we found all the information about Fanny, and she's in custody, and the RAL equation's continuing. Tension, diplomatic tension, and here we are. Dutch is on vacation. The end. Yeah. Except Cave Lord.
We are family.
Right, see you, Gino.
Separate you fucking bug.
Yeah. Stop putting reports on my desk.
Why do you think I'm in the mountains?
we want to support you in that process. Where Ray is the cinematographer. I do a lot of the script writing, and so some of our days are spent sitting at either our kitchen bar or our dining room table, kind of talking back and forth, because I see all the words and he sees all the camera angles, and it's an interesting mix when you have two individuals sitting side by side actually working on these things, because I don't always see things the same way he does, and he doesn't always see the need for having certain phrases that have to be in there, that must be in there. And so we want to support everybody as they tell their story. And I know some of you have approached us already about continuing your story or starting your story, and we want to foster that. We want to make sure that happens. As we move forward, it's also a matter of patience too, because we're trying to rush to get a few things done with the trial and the Redemption Fall stuff. Remember that and this is just kind of a side note, if you were in the vault, I need to know so that I can make sure that as I'm framing the Redemption Fall 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, 3 is almost done, so 4, 5, and 6, I need to know. And then I guess now's a good time to talk to you, Blake. Yes.
Sure.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, he's got the
Oh,
same.
hold on.
You do have the
There
sitting
we
lunch.
go. Better.
Quick, dig and do.
Yep. Nah, it's fine. Here's the hoping.
You're talking about marijuana.
Whoop whoop!
Yay! Well done. Well done.
My baby's all grown up.
Praise the modman. Oh, I mean, sorry.
Gino. Get,
I mean, that's if you still want to be a cadet.
Absolutely.
Everybody drink.
Everyone
You
drink.
can praise the
been
modman.
canned.
For
Same
character's
day.
sake,
Okay, we'll
I
get
would
you
say
a baby bottle
responder,
juice.
so I'm
Gotcha.
absolutely happy to take that.
Free son.
Alright.
Mhm.
Oh wait, we forgot to. Wait, a question was asked about who the original 4 and the Alpha team was. Our dark history. Our dark history. Yeah. She said, Gino knows the story.
Dun dun dun.
You
Brad knows the
sent them
story.
to talk to me. You sent them to vet me.
Right, Brat knows the story.
Unfortunately. I mean, what?
True suicide squads, yeah. That's the original Alpha team, yeah.
I believe one still works for Doc.
Yes.
The big puppies.
Reformed. He's reformed. One is reformed.
Supposedly.
Look, I just go with what I hear. Yeah.
Woot woot. It shall return.
We defended them when we first met them. That was what's... It's how we met them, yep. Right. The better Second Life, not the dumb game Second Life, yeah.
Hey, I like that game.
I watched a coworker lose his job over that game, so...
Oh my
yeah.
God. I wanna ask.
Yeah. So we wanted to give you guys a chance either to ask questions of us, or if you just wanted to speak, if you wanted to speak in brief about the kind of like your own, just if you wanted to, speak your truth in the moment kind of a deal. So we're happy to field questions, or if you want to speak a truth, it's totally fine. Or
I mean,
if you, that's too.
I'm good for today's daily op, but I kind of want to honestly commemorate Clink for a second though. Even from the start, from me joining on as a cadet and I saw Clink, I was honestly surprised to learn that Clink was actually not a part of the 5-0, because like I was really blown away. I'm like, holy hell. I'm like, these guys
I didn't know until now. I didn't know until now. I thought he was already.
Like, this is great.
Wait,
Like,
really?
I love everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it kind of blew me away, even from then. So I'm honestly kind of glad that Clink is now with us. So.
Yay. It's a wonderful
Yay.
person.
Yeah, definitely.
God, you guys are really trying to get me a tear out of me tonight, jeez.
Praise the mod, man.
I told you, Clink, that you were awesome. Doc told you that every day. This is just reaffirming what your few friends that you already had told you. Fucking angel. I love that man.
So yeah, definitely. If you again, if you have questions, now's the time. Or if you just want to kind of address something, or like I said, now's the time.
I just wanted to let you guys know, as I've said many times before throughout it all, I just thank you guys for starting this and always supporting us and giving us a safe haven. And open says me.
think everyone is like that. I started as a 5-0, and I still have my character. It's just that we yeah, being all wacky and loony with the Mothman piece. Actually, you're the guy that actually inspired me to do it. Well, and also Dr. C.J. Martin. But yeah, I pretty much you guys actually inspired me and the whole crew to actually be like that.
You're rolling with it, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Any other
out of my face?
any questions for you guys, or any final thoughts?
I know.
Well, actually, I'll probably just talk to you, Gray.
Okay.
To you, General. So.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, mostly just concerns over lore, because there is just a few things I just want to talk to you about personally that I wouldn't know that if you would know. I mean, obviously because you're Enclave, but anyway.
I've done a disgusting amount of research. I'm sure I've found it.
Yes, he's well versed.
Yeah, no, good. Okay, good. Because I would love to talk to you for a bit. So.
Sure, I'll stick around, buddy. We can meet up. And on a side note, just on behalf of the EAF, I just want to say to everyone here that, first off, thank you for playing with us and having us included. And for the new recruits, listen, we've been playing with the 5-0 for a wonderful time. You've picked no better faction for RP. And for the EAF, all I can say is that a lot of our guys are... well, let's face it, the Enclave has a particular brand to it. They're kind of pompous, and they're kind of dicks sometimes, okay? So I just wanted to take the out-of-character moment to say that we love all you guys, and, nothing's ever personal, and we support you 100%.
But at the same time, y'all still...
Now be careful. Be careful. You're in dangerous. I think Top Deck and Brat were talking, and I just want to give them a chance to both speak before we close out.
Mm-hmm. No, it's have a seat until they're done talking.
No, Top Deck. Mine was a stupid question, anyways. Go ahead.
There are no stupid questions, said the teacher.
It really was a stupid question.
Stupid question is the one that you don't ask.
Okay, fine. So I am obviously a creative individual, everyone can see that, but is thinking really a requirement? Because I was just here to RP, and I don't know if I could do that thinking thing.
I mean, sometimes yeah, sometimes it's just reacting to whatever's happening. I mean, hell, look at my character Grace, all she does is react to what's happening around her.
Grace is my absolute favorite. That's what broke the back and got me to finally join up, is watching you roleplay her.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I've seen him dance to Michael Jackson, and that's some pretty pro Photoshop work. So
Yeah, that's good stuff. Abs for days.
I will be there tomorrow because it's my birthday too, by the way.
Well, happy birthday.
And Patches, if anyone, since you mentioned him earlier, Patches' birthday is tomorrow as well. Yes, we share the same birthday.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Thank you.
Top Deck, what were you gonna say?
Well, like they said, you can come from anywhere. Like, I originally came from the BOSAC, and I just volunteered my time as Lyra, and, well, I just, came out of nowhere and helped out, so...
We try to, just be around, do things,
I've been here and there for a while, just...
Everyone can do it, it's kind of fun.
Yep.
I've had my...
And interact. Not a vacuum.
Who needs healing?
Please stop hitting me.
You need to go if you're dying.
Yeah, the faction is the new responders, the community is the 5-0. That's how I always explain it, because that's how you explain somebody like
Do you guys give health
If I might see a
insurance
piece
here?
of
Hey, no
Yeah, I'm
chicken
sorry, what
legs
was that,
around
Nick?
now.
1 second, guys. What was that, Nick?
I would say I want to say,
Sure, go ahead.
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, some of you in here all know me as Nick, but some of you also know me as Sergey, because that was the very first role-play character I ever did.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, that was my fault. That's not your fault, General. That's my fault. So I don't blame you at all. But
Rest in peace.
I'm just gonna tell you who I am. I'm only gonna say my first name. I am Cullen. So, I am
Howdy.
Cullen.
What up?
aka Melon.
Nice to meet you, Colin.
And
Hi, Colin.
There, workbench.
I do plan for this character,
downstairs.
Mr. Mike Sherman,
Upstairs.
to be a bigger part of the 5-0, and I have plans to make a radio station. I am currently putting it on pause though, because at the moment tomorrow I have a job interview. I might be getting a job.
Oh. Ah, nice.
Best of luck to you, mate.
Don't forget to fix them up.
Bye.
Like
Welcome
that.
to the real world.
Which is why I put not on pause, but I am planning. I am planning to do
You know
a
I
radio
do, sir.
station.
Good.
A radio station based around the entirety of the 5-0, and it would report things going on with storylines going on in the universe, and I don't know.
Yes, like a broadcaster. So Nick and I kind of talked about that. This idea of him taking on the role of kind of that 1950s radio broadcaster, delivering you your information across the radio.
It's a beautiful idea.
It's a great idea to give quick information on like things that have happened over over a time period. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Why is people
God.
dying?
Did we not kill people at HQ?
Maybe not.
Ow.
Well,
It's color.
does
You need to
anybody
add your
have
pickles.
anything further to add? Otherwise, we can.
I have 3 things to say.
Oh.
Really quick.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I just want
Oh,
to
boy.
say that this is an awesome group. That's number 1.
Aw.
Number 2, I'm honored to be part of it. And number 3, Connor, you're out of whiskey. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Does anyone have any vodka? I will buy it from them.
And I'm not going to jail.
I've got my legs.
It's
I
alright.
got
Well, I
my
wanna
legs
thank
in
you guys.
somewhere
The
else.
Enclave always has whiskey.
Well, that's all,
Comrade.
right?
We need vodka.
I do want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I know that, everybody wants to do dailies and grind all the meat week stuff and do all the fun things, but I do appreciate it. We figured it was a really good way to kind of just bring people together and kind of just really reiterate that it is a community, that there's a lot of history, there's a lot of backstory that's not just in character, but like kind of like the development of where we were to where we are. Because we've spent 2 years kind of refining the process, and we're still refining, and that refining process is because of you all and being a part of it. So, just let's tell your stories. Let's do quests. Everybody has a quest line to tell for their character, and some of you have already approached us, and we want to support you guys in telling your story in whatever way we can. If it's just from like, here are some ideas, to you need like something from the actual new responders to facilitate it. We are here to help. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
I took over that workshop for the first time since then, like a couple days ago, and I was like, I need to recreate that stage. That was so much fun.
That was fun. Time no see. Yeah.
That's okay.
I have to jump into a team chat with some people, but you guys, literally own the server. You might as well enjoy it. I wouldn't jump servers because literally it's us and 2 other people in the. That's it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Crap.
Oh lord.
You're right.
Make use of an owned server.
They do is try to kill each other.
But we have to try it, okay? Wait, stop, wait. Stop.
Strikes from anybody. Like, well, not. I'm trying to get 5 in total.
Yeah, I think I've got him in my stash.
I am.
If not, we have them.
Yeah, I'm working on something, and
You better not be afraid of us for anything. We should take a photo.
No.
Well, we did it earlier. If you want to take another photo, everybody has to come back in and I guess.
I'm on my way.
Oh, already did? Oh, that's okay.
Oh. It's up to
Oh,
Ryan,
shiny.
it's his
Oh,
HQ.
look at all the delicious
Yes.
scrap.
There you go.
Hey guys.
No. I took a few extra pictures. Alright, well thank you so much. I'm gonna jump to the tick.
You're missing death right now.
Ruckus, I'll see you at the tick.
Okay. Who wanted to speak to the Enclave? Was it Fiends?
Yes, I'm gonna head over to the embassy.
Alright, well come on, let's, why don't you come over to our embassy right next door. Chief.
Here, Fox.
How long are you gonna be on for, Ray?
Yep.
Well, I have an appointment, not too long after this, but I can always talk to anybody who wants to, whatever.
I'll go get him another beer.
Alright,
eventually I need to get together with
Enclave boys.
on Lyra.
Praise the Mortman.
Bye.
Bye.
Look at all this delicious scrap.
Well, you know,
Yummy,
it's
yummy
not like the Enclave shot in the room over there, so I think we can work something out.
Ooh. So from the neighborhood sports base to
Oh, please don't. He's, what can I say, a fine specimen.
You guys all take a bath together, if I remember correctly.
Oh, what?
Yes, they did.
Ooh. Okay.
I was.
And, High Priest, I'll be seeing you soon, sir.
Commander?
Remember to praise the moth, my good friend.
Don't worry, I'll send you to your moth.
This is Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard.
Judgment!
Well, you better not judge me because in the Enclave, you know, we SWAT. Do you?
That's a good one.
Oh, I would not challenge Tito to a squat contest. Oh no.
Hey, you can. Hey, you want to squat, boy?
We'll find out about a week or so.
Squat.
What the hell did I walk that?
If you're
No chicken legs in this community, so squatting and deadlifts.
You're damn right.
All I see is a bunch
Alright.
of freaking teabagging. That's what I
Now we have a problem in the field.
I respect your lifting. You can live another day.
Oh god, the Brahmins, no.
Yeah, they're a sick problem.
Yep, now I'm leaving. It's affecting me. Alright,
Oh my god,
let's
that's.
go.
Dímelo, Noah!
This is utterly ridiculous.
Is it time, Keith?
It's time.
Hey,
It's time.
Like,
Wait.
it's the
Yes.
Moo Rangers.
Wait.
I am an
Power Rangers.
influencer.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I'm coming.
Use my powers for evil, though, apparently.
Oh,
Hey, get
sweetness.
Fox. Get Fox. Get Fox.
No!
You will move.
Come here, get in your milk. Get him. Get the door, get the door. What the holy hell am I
I will
things
think
that
you
happen.
all.
Yeah, Mel. Huh?
That could be arranged.
The things that happens here
I'm
in
not
your
locking here,
armory
you're
or
locking
in your
here.
headquarters.
Open the door! Open the goddamn door!
Lock it, Ray. Lock it, Ray. Lock it, Ray.
Lock the door! The general has been captured.
Oh my gosh. That was funny. That was just madness.
Yes,
It's the Moo Squad.
Charlie.
This is mad cow disease right here.
Yeah. I love it already.
Well,
My orders command.
So,
Hicimos una
welcome
pequeña
to the 5-0 Clink.
hablando de la historia del grupo.
Ah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Cows.
All right. Where is my
God, that
doctor
caught me
friend?
off guard so bad.
John's the lead guard.
Where did...
Así que déjame ir un momentito
He's the shepherd of
para...
the cows.
where did he go?
Where did General go?
Where?
Uh-oh.
Mentira.
Meet me in the garage, Doc.
Where you at?
We're all
He's right there in the
Oh, there you are. There you are. Here, come over here so I can actually hear you. Okay? Okay, Doc.
Yeah. Alright. Ooh.
I mean, I could. Do you need me to?
My squad is.
Are we doing the walk right now? For
we
your,
have a squad.
Alright, no. Yep. That would be my squad for this evening. Efree, Rainbow, and Monty.
Yeah, I can
Go ahead and gear up.
I'm there.
I'm already ready, sir.
Just so I can hear you.
Alright, Commander, that's where we're about to head out and meet anything.
Come on.
I'll
Dad.
take the Commander 6.
Let's go.
But,
Behind you.
God, sir, can I please have another?
Alright, squad.
La, 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 la.
Commander, it's a little bright out here. You need your glasses?
Oh. Shh.
You know.
Shh. Shh. You guys hear him?
We can hear the cat. Yes, we can. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
oh, it's great. It's adorable.
Well, I mean, you need to learn how to control your...
He's
My
a
wife and I,
mama's
we have a
boy.
cat, so we know this 100%. Our cat is
Wait, Commander, now that we're done with the class, does that mean Monty and myself have finished with classes?
That would be Commander Andrews' quest.
Oh, I thought he would know.
Not
Seeing
Commander.
that they sleep together.
What? How do you have proof?
So,
Spambot
Commander,
69, we know everything.
You want me to rub some sunscreen on your neck before we go?
Is it sunscreen this time?
Good Christ.
I'm gonna
Yes.
stand next to the Commander, just in case some psychopath. Are you armed, sir?
Yeah, that.
What is it?
He's got two of them
Stoneheart?
right there. I can see him.
Not what I heard. I've heard some interesting stories, Commander.
Dun, dun.
One time he ordered like 7 fire breathers to cover his ass for me.
Ferals? Yes. We just call them ferals, sir.
Yeah,
I heard
Monty
that.
kind of gets a little, ass jabbed by bulls.
I mean, you're in the middle of the road, so...
On both feet.
Phrasing, sir. Silence. I mean, I'm not from around here, so I'll take your word for it.
That's why I was
bar. Man, explains your intelligence, but... VTU. I think the last time I went into VTU, there was lots of angry people. First combat. Target? Wait a minute, doesn't work. Except for the communist food factory. Yep.
The Mediterranean ref is people!
And how else do you think we build those liberator lamps? So now
Get
that
right on out of you.
We can always pick you up and run you.
be on guard.
Hey, Commander. Commander
Is there
Anders
anything good
is
in there?
asking for me
Yeah,
to
I found a
come up
can
to
of
the
beans,
tick,
so I'm good.
help out
Some
with the
dog
situation.
food.
Mind if I take
you need help,
one of my squad
Macklin?
members and leave the rest of the squad with you? Alright. Bravo squad, continue to escort the commander, Ifrit and Mary. Let's get up to the tick double time. Do you want to stay here?
No, I'm good.
Alright.
I will
Alright, everybody,
initiate
keep
the train, so follow me.
squad, keep close proximity to him. I want a sounds good.
Alright, I'll help you out. I'll help you out with that, but then I have to head back to the mountains.
No worries. Just
You know there's a curse to the word quiet.
Not wrong there.
I
Is there a troll underneath it? I'll check. Nope.
Well, I gotta be calling it a night, everyone. I gotta get up early in the morning.
Night.
Night, mate.
See you tomorrow. Thank you. Righty then. Thank you once again. You made my night, legitimately. Thank you. Alright then, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you, mate.
Bye bye.
Alright. Later, guys.
Yes, sir.
I would love some cookies, actually. However, I will skip the rusty coffee. Well, that makes sense.
What do you say there, Commander?
Yeah, one of my best friends is a ghoul.
Hightail's telling me Graham is having a meat cook soon. I know you don't.
Roach bit me in the ass. Of course you're paying for the train. What kind of cookies?
X amount of time, you'll see less character play from me and probably more written, more and more, or in-game, I should say, and more written, or more written before everything kind of unfolds. But that is definitely something that I have thought greatly on. Where I might need extra, should I say, not
Voices.
characters, voices, yeah, and support in that regard. Thank you, Kip. Is because as it is right now, where I stand with my group is we are only 2, 3, 4 members who have characters who have made appearances in the community before, and literally like 2 of them are kind of nervous about jumping into the community, so much to the point where with everything that has happened, they kind of dialed it back a bit, and I'm trying to encourage them to get involved again, without making it feel forced.
Right, exactly. You want it to be a natural, just kind of a seamless sort of thing. I totally get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, as a troop, we're here to facilitate. I mean, I cannot stress that enough.
Right.
I've already offered my psychiatry services.
There you go. Like the whole
God
concept
knows I
is
need.
it's not about a single person telling their story and all the rest of the people are, just a thing. We're a community, and we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to do that, and has that opportunity to create the content that you want to create. And like Ray was saying earlier, there's so many things, outside of the game that he actually can offer advice on in terms of the from social media to filming to camera, just simple things to complex things, website things. I mean, I just write crap, and I
Yeah.
and I voice act. So that's what I do. He's the person behind all that other stuff, the visual presentation and the storytelling. So and then there's so many people in this community, doll, that have that understand the DMing process, and so if you want to like bounce ideas off of that too, Ral to my right here, she's amazing with her ability to DM and to see things. Keith's got experience with it. I mean, I've run a few. Barnett's obviously run several, and they're all, we've all kind of done these things. And so if you need somebody to help you facilitate an event for those individuals in House of Requiem that you kind of want to ease them into something, but you kind of want to not wear the heavy load all by yourself. You kind of want somebody to facilitate with you, like a co-DM. It's not a bad idea to have somebody do that. I mean, one of the best events that, I mean, I'll forgive me for using this as an example. One of the best ones we did was where you and I wrote it, and we had Hawkins actually run it. And so she and I actually wrote the event with all the assets, and then we had him actually play it out as the dungeon master. But we were there as kind of to facilitate if needed, and it was just really nice because then we had created all the assets, we created all the information, all the steps. He knew exactly what we was getting into. We gave it to him ahead of time, so he ran the group through it. While at the same time, Ral and I were just we were present on the fire team, but we didn't do a lot of the impact. We were just there in case there was a critical thing that was missed that really needed to be found to help Hawkins, Irish marksman, if he needed help in some way. And so we're, like I said, this group is about helping everybody tell all the different stories that need to be told, because nothing happens in a vacuum. That's what makes RPG communities so strong, is the fact that they are actually communities working together to tell all the stories.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. And I mean, first off, I have to start with or say, thank you so much. Having that offer, that hand reached out, it actually takes kind of a load off my shoulders, because even right now I'm just looking at all this information and I'm just what did I get myself into? This is a lot I have to process out. Not to say I'm losing momentum or confidence or anything like that. Modus can actually I guess maybe not shine some light, contest to, I've been putting a lot of work into my Discord, more than I have in the last 2 months.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, that's primarily my focus. Like I said, my primary focus right now is building the foundation, and I'll definitely hit you up on Discord. And I mean, even if Ray is interested in having me contact him somehow to pick his brain, I know we originally talked on Twitter back when all of this started with us, and then when we got into the game, I started communicating more with you. But even if I could pick his brain about what software he uses, or maybe if I wanted to edit a piece, a video together, or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, you definitely have my contact information, and I'm sure somewhere he has ways to get a hold of me. Excuse me. But, in the sake of, and going back, because I'm wandering at this point, like I so often do, Discord is my primary focus right now. And you'll see a lot more on my Discord, and then I'll go from there. Like I said, I plan on making it a kind of appearance sometime around Halloween, and that kind of will be the prelude to everything. I really want to take this slow and make sure that I'm doing it right. The only thing I can really think of that would in this moment, in this conversation, would be, yeah, just to have the ability to pick individuals' brains. And I mean, obviously, you did a bunch of name drops, which is very helpful. I mean, I guess I got like nothing other than that. And like, in addition to thank you to like everybody's here that is here. All of you guys have been like,
please exit the area
a
at your
huge
earliest
support
convenience.
in this last
Thank you
year.
for your
I mean,
cooperation.
Top Deck alone has been an individual that has like literally spent hours to me ranting about just nothing. So,
I mean, I care enough. I mean, it's just, you know, I do what I can for anyone, right?
Absolutely.
Basic human.
Well, you know, basic human decency, right? And you know, I think
It's about
that's
rare as common sense, though, these days.
well, we'd hope it's common sense, but you know. But yeah, no, like I said, Doll, reach out, talk to people. Yeah, I want the more people, not just like, I don't want it ever to think like it's just like the new responders, the more people that are part of the community that are doing this stuff, just the richer it all feels, and the less like, oh my god, there's a round of grief, or oh my god, there's another round of this is broken, or there's, you know, GC Tesla breaking the pixelation at Armory kind of stuff. You know, it's
right.
So I think that's, you know, it takes a certain type of a person to decide that they want to, you know, spend 3 hours RPing, you know, in an evening. At minimum. And
It's lovely,
you know,
though. Oh, hello, Commander.
man.
Your voices are easy. I don't want to hear it.
What? Monty's easy? I wouldn't have guessed.
What are you talking about? Yeah. I try really hard in this voice.
I mean, I can whip out Changeling's voice if you want. I have enough alcohol flowing now that I can easily do his voice.
I mean, I can do Big Papa's or sets. Big set will give you the chills if it's fun.
I'll just sound like myself right now because I haven't been drinking nearly enough.
I talk how I talk. Suck it up.
Just be yourself.
You know,
I agree with Rao.
I've tried. There's someone in the window. I've tried with voices, and maybe I need to do like, you know, some voice lessons. I would really like to separate characters from the other. Like Susan, for example. I don't want Susan to sound like Ruckus. Like, obviously.
Right. Here, I'll just open the door for everybody to come in. Yeah.
So,
Can I leave it closed? Aww.
Maybe if I could have a voice coach. I really feel like Baby Shadows is a good.
The shower is a great place to practice.
Yeah,
that's true.
Right.
Just saying, some of my best conversations with myself have been in like either in Charlotte's voice or in Changeling's voice while I'm in the shower.
Yeah, I will take that into consideration. I will definitely start like, because like I mean I've even trying to soften my voice. That's something that actually Top is really good at, is softening his voice. Because I just can't. I don't have the voice types for it.
I don't know. I think it's easier for men with a tenor to play a female voice than it is a men voice.
Right.
Just for obvious reasons.
What? Girls can't be bassy?
I mean, they can.
Wow.
But most women can only hit a contralto. It's not like they can actually.
Very upset about this.
I cannot even do a John's voice. There's no way. I mean.
Do it. I mean, that last you did an episode where you were quite good at the impressions. Just saying.
I mean, okay, Grace. If I can get a few lines in, I can do. Well, I have to be a character to do character voices, but I can't sustain it. Grace she's a mimic. She'll mimic you, but I can't sustain it. Like, so when you guys are playing, like octave differences, I'm like, kudos to you because I can't do it.
Oh yeah, Grace mimics you. Does that mean she likes you?
If Grace mimics you, well, not necessarily, because she mimics people she doesn't typically like too. It just means that she's picked up on your nuance and your speech patterns. Right. I dropped my tone.
Oh, excuse me.
Right. Well, because Corey's like in her 40s, so I need to drop her tone a little bit, and then Grace is higher. Grace is more my natural tone actually. Corey, I drop her tone. Changing, I talk in the back of my throat. Charlotte, I channel
I don't want to hear about it.
Southern, and then Mina, I don't know. She's somewhere from Jersey, even though she's not.
Amanda, can I tap
I'm
you
always
in the
back
ass?
of my throat. I'm good, fire.
I am the Thunderbear.
I love Kim.
Yeah.
Right.
A good practice of this is actually, and I hate to put you on the spot with this, right, is that it's very easy for Ray to actually, when he's reading a bedtime story to a 5-year-old, to switch between the voices, because he's right.
Attention citizens, nuclear strike imminent. Please exit the area at your earliest convenience.
It's impressive, and then our daughter's like,
Thank
"No,
you for
Daddy,
your
not
cooperation.
Commander Johns." Then I'll switch to Dutch, and she's like,
No,
"Not Dutch."
A real not.
Oh god.
But my point is that it's really funny because Ray, you switch, so naturally you're reading a story, and so it may be good practice for people that want to kind of switch back and forth between voices. Just take something they already know and it's simple to read, just read it.
Right. I definitely will use that practice. I actually really like that idea, for sure. And I have a whole bunch of Dr. Seuss books, so I'm golden.
Oh god, Dr. Seuss is awful.
Well,
World War II.
That's what I like to do. Morning voice is always different for each guy. I mean, I sound like a pirate.
This is true. Yeah, morning voice is different. I try not to. So I just, whenever I do recordings for